The BlokeBusters podcast is a proud member of the Pod Bros Network, where you can find us as well as other excellent podcasts such as Sarcasm City, Worst Millennials, and Late Night Gamers at podbros.com. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the BlokeBusters podcast.
Tonight's story is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction.
Who's gone off? Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And this is?
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Houston, we have a problem.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Now, where was I?
Welcome to a very special 2017 in review episode of BlokeBusters. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And we are going to do, as I just said, sort of 2017 in review with regard to
film-wise.
Us. Yes.
Otherwise, it's been pretty shitty.
Yeah, it's going to be a long episode if we do that.
We're going to try to focus on the bright points here.
Yes, on the films we've seen and the episodes we've released and stuff like that. So obviously it will become clearer as we go on. First and foremost, let me get it out of the way. You can find us on Twitter at BlokeBusters, on Instagram at BlokeBusters, Facebook.com/BlokeBusters. You can email us blokebusterpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website, blokebusters.web.com, or you can go to podbros.com and find us and many others. So go do that. Okay,
well
you're
done.
back. Good.
Well done. Great job. Okay.
Yes. Obviously, this past year, or at least last year, given when this came out, we did a bit of a theme that we had going, mostly brought about by necessity, because I had a young daughter, which meant I couldn't get to the cinema as often as I used to be able
one of the
to.
other great points of 2017. Yes.
Exactly, yes. Got to watch her grow up. And so, yes, we did a thing where we would do a Netflix review and then either a new review or another special thing that we did, and that was kind of how we had it going. We did veer off from that from time to time, and everyone seemed to come with us on that, and it was a lot of fun. So what we wanted to do now is, for me, briefly mention the films that I actually got to see that were released in 2017, and then Brian will do a slightly longer list with some reviews and stuff. So I won't bother going into the ones that we covered on the podcast. They might come up later, but so the ones that we did on the podcast that I saw were Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman, Dunkirk, and Thor Ragnarok. And I might mention one or two of those a little bit later. The other ones that I got to see, and this list is not longer, it is Split, which I enjoyed because of James McAvoy. But I will admit, it's not exactly a brilliant film. It has some good bits in it.
But it, from what I understand, I've not seen it, it does set up a long-awaited sequel, and that's all I'll say.
It does. You are correct.
Okay, yeah.
I got to see Lego Batman.
Okay.
And it was kind of more of the same, obviously very featured around the Lego Batman character, which was a big draw from the Lego movie. And it was all right. I don't know if maybe I just wasn't a fan of the Batman character that they did. I feel like he was a little bit too childish, if I had to think of a word.
Okay.
But it was all right. I also saw Get Out. I did get the chance to see that, and I think it was a very good film. A very, very well done Jordan Peele there. And I don't know if we're going to cover it in a later podcast at some point, but I would not be against it. So let us know what you think of that.
And I'm just holding my reviews here, so just to let you go through. Yeah,
that's fine. And the last film that was released in 2017 that I got to see, told you it was a short list, was, in my opinion, one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
And it was Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, really? That was in the theater? That was this year?
That was this year.
That feels like a couple years ago. Okay.
Yeah, it does. And unfortunately, it was in this last year. It does exist, and anyone who's a fan of the Ghost in the Shell anime should buy. Well, no, they shouldn't buy it, but they should steal it and then burn it. That's what should happen to the film. And if anyone wants to hear my thoughts on that film, I did go on the Sword Western Cinema podcast and find their episode of Ghost in the Shell. I do have a bit of a rant that I go on. So.
Yes. I believe it, yeah. All right, so...
That is it in terms of theatrically released film for me. There are some Netflix things that we'll get into a little bit later that I wanted to bring up just because, but why don't you delve into your 2017 in film?
Absolutely. So try to do this quickly here, and I'll try to get Paul away in so we're just not listening to me talk here forever. I know no one likes that on a podcast, right? Okay. So other than the main four that you mentioned, Dunkirk, Guardians, V2, Wonder Woman, and Thor Ragnarok, obviously that we all covered, I'll just kind of start with yours. I already talked about Split, hadn't seen that. Lego Batman, I really enjoyed. Okay. I did love Batman. I did love like the mix of live action kind of and like with the films and stuff. And I obviously love Doug Benson's Bane. High point for me in there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it as kind of going along with that franchise. Haven't seen the Ninjago yet, but we'll be checking that out at some point here. Get Out, I actually saw on the same day that I saw Lego Batman movie. So that was a nice little juxtaposition there. Fantastic movie, and I'm so looking forward to what else Jordan Peele has to offer. It's just a really, really, really well made, and I know we hesitate to call these things important, but because it's just who wants to call it important? But it is. It's a really and it stands alone as a just excellent horror kind of thriller movie. So yeah, loved that one. And I had not seen Ghost in the Shell.
Good choice.
Running quickly through, and this is, I can't believe all the way, this is still 2017, but La La Land and Jackie, that was January. La La Land, loved it early on. Now I'm kind of Jackie, utterly fantastic. Everyone check out Jackie.
Yeah, it's on HBO right now.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Natalie Portman should have gotten an Oscar for that one. Instead of Emma. Yeah. Even though I loved Emma. All right. So, real quickly, Beauty and the Beast live action. It's okay.
That's what I've heard.
It's it's fine.
It's a film.
It is a film. If you love the animation, you'll probably like this one. It's not going to blow you away. Rough Night, if anyone remembers Rough Night. That was the female-led...
yes.
With Scarlett Johansson, Kate McKinnon, kind of like a bachelorette party. Kind of Very Bad Things-esque.
I was about to say, yes.
Yeah, where just things keep going horribly wrong. Where this film failed is they didn't fully go dark. They went to a dark place, but tried to keep it light. So all the humor didn't play. Because they were just kind of middle ground on this, where they wanted to be as far, just as not really, like I said, just kind of being somewhere between kind of slapstick and very dark comedy, which you kind of have to pick a lane at some point.
Yeah, and I'm sure the comedians that are in that film, they could definitely have done dark humor.
But not to say there are not amazing individual performances in it. Kate McKinnon is freaking great. Jillian Bell is amazing. It's a fun movie. I was just disappointed it wasn't better.
Yeah.
Moving on, The House, kind of same thing. The Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler, Jason Mantzoukas opening a casino in their home. It's good. It's if you're fans of the people, check it out. Definitely check it out for Jason Mantzoukas if you're a fan of him or The League or any of that. Baby Driver, wonderful movie.
I want to see that. I forgot about that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to see that.
Kevin Spacey's involvement makes me kind of about watching it again, but maybe I'll just fast forward through his scenes.
Right, very briefly, I just want to bring up my things that, Yeah, absolutely. The stuff that he has done, like there is no forgiving that whatsoever. I am myself a component of the film of thought of separate the artist from the art. So I might not have a problem rewatching some Kevin Spacey stuff just because I'm watching a performance over the person, but yet I am well aware that there are many people that will not be able to do that, and fair enough.
I'm not going to give more of my time to them when I could be giving something else. But
yes, no, fair enough. If it's something that he happened to have been in, I'll watch it.
But yeah, I would like to see that movie again because it is so good. But yeah, maybe just I'll look at my phone when his scenes are on. So Suicide Squad, awful, still awful. Always going to be awful.
Christ, yeah, I completely forgot Suicide Squad without that.
Yep. So relating to that, Justice League, really enjoyed it. I am so shocked these words are coming out of my mouth. It is a fun time. The Flash is the movie. Affleck is watchable.
Okay.
High review there for Affleck. But yeah, Jason Momoa is great. It's just, maybe just a tad long, but not really for DC films. It's 2 hours. Ezra Miller was hilarious. So I was pleasantly surprised. For that 2 hours, I was entertained.
Okay.
For the most part. The Big Sick, probably one of my top 2 favorite films of the year.
I have heard that from so many people.
Yeah. So Kumail and Emily Gordon, hopefully they get a lot of awards for this. It's one of the best written films I've ever seen. I loved it. It's kind of restores hope in rom-coms if people weren't really feeling those. Right. And I don't want to just kind of minimize it and just call it a rom-com because it is a lot more than that. We talked about Lego Batman and Get Out. Logan, best X-Men movie ever, probably will be that way for a while. So absolutely loved seeing Hugh Jackman in that role again, and where he really got to kind of embrace how that character is supposed to be. Right. And that's all I will say on that because Paul's not seen it. So
thank you.
I want him to be able to enjoy it as much as he can because it really is worth not knowing as much as you can on that one.
Yes, I do believe, just based on what I know of the Old Man Logan story, I believe I know where it has to end. Mm-hmm. But even knowing that, I still am looking forward to seeing this one.
It's so good. I saw it, I think, 3 times in the theater. So yeah, I don't do that for many. I think John Wick was the last one to hit 3. I think that one got 4. Right. But Alien Covenant, watched this one a couple times in the theater. I really like this. This I know I'm kind of in the 50%. I don't know. I feel like this was kind of just average reviewed. Yeah. I thought it was a step up from Prometheus. I know that's not saying a lot for some people, but still very visually stunning. A lot of it didn't work, but I did think they made some headway. And there are some scenes that, oh my gosh, you just have to see. They are so unintentionally hilarious. And I will just say to try to keep it a little spoiler free. I'm going to forget the other or the clones' names, but the Michael Fassbender flute scene I could have watched 2 hours of. So that is all I'm saying on that. That was good shit. Okay. Moving on. Spider-Man Homecoming. I've been on record on this podcast as saying I do not like Spider-Man. I do not like any of the iterations we've gotten with Tobey Maguire or Garfield. Yeah, Andrew Garfield. That being said, this is the Spider-Man movie I was waiting for. Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. I'm never going to love the character, but I did really enjoy this movie. Not one of my... I mean, it was a hefty year for comic book films and superhero movies. So it's not cracking like my top 2 or 3, but it was definitely worth watching. And then, because Wonder Woman, I think, would probably take that slot there as the other one of the 2 best films I've seen this year. Yeah. Blade Runner 2049. so gorgeous, and I'm so upset this movie didn't do better at the box office. I was trying to get as many people as I could to go see it, just because it is. Paul, you are going to shit when you see this movie. It is so gorgeous, and I think people want to say. I mean, it is long. Yes, it's very long. That the runtime really hurt this movie from probably doing a lot better than it did, and being such a wonderful follow up to the original. I think they kind of zeroed in on really pleasing the fanboys, but that kind of at the exclusion of others, I thought, maybe because it's so a part of that world. But as someone that loves Blade Runner, I loved it, and I know there were people that loved the first that did not like this. I just wasn't one of them. So yeah, can't say enough good things about that. I will probably be buying it on iTunes here, not next paycheck. So Battle of the Sexes, fantastic.
I don't know that one.
This is Emma Stone and Steve Carell as Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs in the highly touted 70s tennis match.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't heard of this one.
Super good film. Also really kind of vital to watch in these times. And it's just a lot of fun. This is what Emma should have been nominated for. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know when this was out. I know this was this year, but yeah, she was just fantastic in it. It's just a really awesome movie, and I mean, it was never going to do great, just because it's a little smaller movie. But
right.
I mean, Sarah Silverman's so good in it. Natalie Morales, Bill Pullman, Bill Pullman's great. Love to hate Bill Pullman in this one. So yeah, I'd encourage that one. Geostorm. Yes, I went to see Geostorm. Judge.
Okay. Did you have nothing else to do?
There was nothing else out that weekend.
I see.
And I think, what was it? It was like a rewatch of, I don't even know. It was a rewatch of something I'd seen a couple times already. Maybe like Alien Covenant or something. No, I don't know. I think it was later in the year than that. But either way, why not? This is going to be awful. And boy, was I right. And it so not even like fun bad at times. Like there were moments that were ridiculous, and just how many times they said Geostorm was amazing. It'll be like a Geostorm.
Well,
I mean, I'm not really exaggerating too much on the dialogue.
Okay. In that case, I'm looking forward to the CinemaSins.
Yeah. So enter at your own risk on this. It's not even 2 hours. So hey, if you want to have a few cocktails or indulge in something else and have at it, or if you just want to go in stone cold sober, you're brave, but go for it. Not a great one. And then the last one, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I will keep this spoiler free for Paul as well. I loved this one. I really like where some of the characters went. I was surprised at a few points, and I think this is going to kind of stand the test of time better than Force Awakens, maybe, if that makes sense, where Force Awakens was just almost pure fan service, which was fine to reintroduce these new films. But this, I think, is a standalone, very good Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you rate it in terms of Rian Johnson's catalog?
Rian Johnson, I would say it's one of his best.
Okay.
I think I'm really excited about the 3-picture deal he has with the new trilogy, like a separate trilogy. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with new characters that aren't the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a very good Star Wars film, and I have been trying to get back to the theater to see it. So,
right.
So I think that covers it. I think that was 22 theatrical films I saw. This year. Yeah. Well, when you just look out for number one, that's what happens. So,
very true.
All right. So, with that being said, where are we going next here?
Obviously that was the theatrically released thing, but I feel like we should mention, or at least bring up, anything else on like streaming or anything like that we've watched that we really enjoyed, but we didn't get the chance to do it on the podcast. Either because we want to save it for later, or because we just couldn't figure out exactly how we were going to do it. But there are several things that I watched that I would quite like to mention, if only to get it on other people's radar.
Absolutely.
So first and foremost, for myself, Master of None Season 2. That came out in this past year, and I think it had one of my favorite episodes of anything ever in it, and only because I was such a fan of the way that they did the episode. For people that may not have seen Master of None, it's kind of slice of life type thing. It's a slightly fictionalized take on all the characters in it, and this one episode that they did, rather than going with the main characters that you've seen in literally every other episode of both series, it starts with them and then it kind of veers off into someone else's story, and then it veers off into someone else's story. And it's always like, they walk past someone and the camera just follows this person that they've walked past rather than them. And that's how it keeps going. And there is one part where someone comes into a store and then all sound disappears because the person that the camera is following is deaf. And it was so well done, and I was not expecting it. And I loved it. And now whenever I try and get people to watch the show, I kind of tell them that maybe you should just watch this one episode. If you like this, you're gonna love the rest of it. Like, it's just and yeah, that's my personal take on it. I have not really talked to you about it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that like the kind of the joint number one that I just wanted to mention, because we haven't done it on the podcast, and I don't know if we will. That's why I wanted to get that one out of the way. I don't know how we would do Master of None.
I don't know either.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any specifically that you want to mention?
As far as just Netflix recommendations or things we've been watching?
I have a couple more, but is there anything you want to get out of the way
I just want to run through quickly, because one of my favorite series was Big Mouth. The adolescent coming of age kind of, or like just dealing with puberty. Animation. It's vile, it's obscene, it's hilarious, and it's really well done. And it's actually, if you would have like mature children, I could see like showing them this as kind of general sex ed.
Right, and also being able to maybe open up a line of communication in that area.
But I was crying with laughter at certain scenes, like legit, like could not get my breath. So goddamn funny.
I'll have to add that to the queue then. I kind of skirted around it. I've never actually pressed play.
It is. Like I said, you're prepared for like some wildly inappropriate things.
I'm fine with that.
But it's great. I don't know. I had a couple others written down as far as just general streaming things that people should check out. But
tell you what, then I'll quickly run through my list and then you can do yours, and then we'll get into the real meat. So Santa Clarita Diet, I actually quite enjoyed that one. I'm intrigued to see what they do with the next season. I felt it was cheesy enough to kind of get away with what they were doing, but I can fully understand why some people would be put off by it.
I kind of liked it, but it got a bit repetitive for me.
Okay. Something else that was completely out of the blue, I had no idea what it was going to be, and it was just awesome, was Michael Bolton's Big Sexy Valentine's Day special. It was off the walls bonkers, and I kind of enjoyed that. Like myself and Jamie, we were just sitting down and we had like an hour and a half to kill, and we were just looking through Netflix and we were like, what the hell is this? Shall I hit play? okay, yeah. So we hit play, and we just watched the entire thing, just alternatively staring at the screen, and then just sort of looking over at each other like, what? Okay. Just kind of disbelief for the entire thing, but it was fun. It was just fun. Oh, Hello on Broadway.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
Yes, again, something that I don't feel we could appropriately do on the podcast, but I want so many people to watch this thing. It was wonderful.
I agree 100%. Yes. Some wonderful surprises in there, too.
Yes, very much so. The Wet Hot American Summer series that
I had that written down 10 years later. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, was the first day of camp, was that 2016 or was that the beginning of 2017?
I think it was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother to pull it up on IMDb, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I know that 10 years later, and I thought they know exactly what they were doing, and the whole trying to figure out how to explain away the fact that Bradley Cooper isn't in it anymore was wonderfully done.
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as First Day of Camp, and I was just so over the whole Reagan and Bush plot
that was odd.
line. It was really weird, and they didn't have to go there. Like, their stories as campers was exciting enough or interesting enough, but it was more of the same. It stands, I think, decently as a part of that world.
Yeah, I would say so. And the only other thing that I wrote down Netflix-wise is something that I feel like we could do on the podcast, so I don't know if I want to go too far into it. We need to get the right guest for sure. Dear White People.
Okay, yeah.
Like I quite enjoyed that show. And again, like I said, I feel like down the line we could do it, and so I don't want to go too far into it. If we decide that we don't, I'll definitely go further into it because I would like to. But yes, please watch Dear White People if you have not. That's what I will say.
Agreed. Any other? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to hit anything else that you had down. I don't believe I had.
Well, we might get into it. Potential spoiler for the podcast here, but obviously, Stranger Things.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
I figured that would come up. Yeah, but I just wanted to throw it out there. There's a lot of great Netflix comedy specials out there, so. I would just encourage people, if you're into that, you're probably watching them anyway, but just look for them and look for, there's been some great female specials too. I think Jen Kirkman had a special this year. I think Amy Miller. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but they're available.
I believe the Amy Miller one is, yeah.
Yeah, but just find them and watch them. Tom Segura, Mostly Stories was really great. I have not gotten to the new Todd Berry one yet, but yeah. So then, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the reimagining or the continuation of that with Jonah Ray.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of NMSD, everyone I've talked to still likes this. It's great bedtime stuff. Just throw on MSD and watch some people make fun of a shitty movie. It's pretty good stuff. I thought we might get into this as well, but A Series of Unfortunate Events was great this year. And then moving away from Netflix, obviously just 2 seconds on Game of Thrones. You're watching or you're not. Okay, yes. Yeah. That was the 2 seconds on Game of Thrones.
There you go.
I love it. Yeah. And then the other one on Amazon Prime, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I freaking love this series. I cannot wait. It's one of the problems with binging is you watch it in a day and then you have to wait a year. Yeah. Hopefully just a year. It was so good. And it's, if you're a fan of comedy, this is the creator of Gilmore Girls, and I was just in love with this thing. It's just like old New York. You got Lenny Bruce in there. It's just such a good show. And Alex Borstein, who you might know as Lois, I believe, from Family Guy. is amazing in this and should have gotten freaking nominated, but I believe did not for anything. So yeah, she was fantastic, as was the lead. So yeah, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Please watch that if you have a Prime account or know someone that will let you use it. So, I think that's about all I had. I'm sure I can think of more, but yeah, in the interest of time.
I am kind of surprised that you didn't bring up Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Yes. Oh my gosh. See, that is an awful thing, which friends listening to this will be screaming at me for not bringing that up. Yeah. So sorry, people. Handmaid's Tale. Sorry, there's been so much this year, and I can't believe I could forget something as obvious and as incredible as Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. Watch that one, obviously, if you haven't gotten around to it, because damn, talk about of the times. It's, yeah, scary shit. And that's just as a dude. So yeah, that one, and then that makes me feel like I'm probably forgetting something else that's equally as amazing. Westworld was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was so long ago. All right. Okay. So yeah, probably missing a big one here, but we'll just have to let it be an error.
Yeah. And I have not watched it, but my wife would recommend Orange Is the New Black as well.
Okay.
So, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So now I feel like we can get into kind of the reason that we wanted to do this episode. I wanted to kind of look back at some of the episodes that we've done and kind of reflect on them, what some of our favorite episodes were, and like maybe see if there's a theme around it or anything. Yeah, let's just see where this goes. One of my favorite episodes of the last year was our Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, mostly because it was one of the few reviews where we had wildly differing takes on it.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because, as I'm sure listeners,
unlike the movie, yeah,
yes, as listeners will be aware, we tend to have relatively similar thoughts on most of the films we cover. Or we might have different things that we liked, or have different issues or whatever, but normally we're kind of in line, and this was one where you had some really big issues with the way that they did it, and I guess I just did not. So
yeah, listen to that episode if you haven't.
Yeah.
And get mad at me all over, or get mad at me for the first time.
Yeah.
Or if you agree with me, maybe. Yeah. It is a possibility that this movie completely dropped the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see what they do going forward with it.
I was just going to, because I did want to get around to talking about that, so I'll just do it now. But I would say biggest, if there was like an award or something, biggest letdown. Or do we do that on the awards? We might. I don't know.
I think maybe we do.
Yeah.
Disappointment, I believe. Yeah.
Disappointment, yeah. Or like did not meet expectations. Yeah. This is definitely that film. So
yeah, look forward to our annual reviews then, because I think that's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Sneak peek here. When I enjoy Justice League more than Guardians, we have problems. So
yes,
yeah,
yes. And for those
I'm in the freaking upside down. Yeah,
yeah. For those of you that did listen to the previous awards show that we did and realized that I hadn't really seen anything, I do plan on taking the time out to watch the bigger films, the ones that are up for contention, so that we can actually have a proper discussion this time. So yes, hopefully that will work out. And
we'll keep fingers crossed.
Yes. So what about you then? What if do you have a specific episode that stands out most to you, or anything?
Oh, I wrote down a big list, but are we just doing one?
Oh no, I figured we would go back and forth, but I didn't know if there was anything that you wanted right now.
As far like I just kind of went from the standpoint of just the amount of fun I had recording.
Okay.
I think I think Death Becomes Her is really high up there for me. That was
an
a
interesting one.
It was a fun time. I mean, it's very rare that we do two guests.
Yeah.
And we had Colleen Griffin and Sarah Polton. Shout out to you, ladies. Thanks for always coming on as often as you do. Yeah. But that was just a fun one to talk to, and just one that you had not seen, and one that like the three of us were in love with. So yeah, that was a fun one. Paul might have had a different experience, but I loved it.
Oh no, yeah, I really enjoyed talking about that film, and I find it really interesting when you have one person who is coming at something completely fresh, and then one or more people who is like, this is their nostalgic view. Which you got that one, and then also Earth Girls Are Easy. Like they were the same.
I have
kind
that
of
written
thing.
down. Yep.
Yeah, it was. And normally it's me because yes, I haven't seen a lot of this sort of stuff. But yeah, it was very much fun to do both of those, and I really hope we do more like that down the line. We'll just have to kind of write up a list of things that I haven't seen that everyone else apparently has, and then go from there.
Yeah, I had that one written down as well. That was a great one to talk to, and our guest was wonderful.
Yeah, Canadian Steve.
Yes, I was just going to say, yeah, give him a shout out to Canadian Steve. Yeah, thanks for coming on, and thanks for being so polite, eh? So I don't know if that makes it my turn or your turn, but yeah, because we both had that one. Go for it.
As I said, the next one I had written down was actually An American Tale.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed talking about that one because, as people that have been regular listeners will not be surprised to hear, I am huge into animation, and that film, that review that we did, got us the opportunity to talk about that style of animation, that time of film, and all of this sort of stuff. Like, it's a type of animation that you don't see anymore, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And we had a good conversation about that, and we also had a good conversation about the film itself, because it really does something that a lot of kids' films don't do, and it goes to quite dark places. So
well, it is just a kind of a drama, or almost, that just happens to be animated. Like it's not necessarily a children's film. Like it's, I don't want to say, because it very much is in a lot of ways, but like you're alluding to, there were things in there that, like, wow, this is not just your typical kind of princess and, you know, knight in shining armor or whatever kind of Disney fare. Like, it was a little different.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the discussions that came from that. So I urge people that might not have listened to that one to go and listen to it just because of that.
Yeah. I had next one written down I had was Cool Runnings. I thought that was
a fun one.
That was a fun one to talk about. Yeah, just some yummy, delicious nostalgia for Paul and I.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so if you want to listen to us, if you haven't heard that one, let's do us gush over John Candy and Coffee. Or yeah, oh gosh, why am I even blanking on their names right now? But Sanka, I was like Coffee. Yeah, Sanka and yeah, Yul Brenner and Junior and the other one, the good-looking one, Dries. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Dries
go check that out. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was fun.
And actually, you saying that right now has just reminded me of another possible review in future. I'll tell you about that later. So,
all right, tease. Okay. What others? I just had a few more.
Okay. Well, I wrote down, and just because I love talking about the film and the guests we had on were just perfect for it, Wonder Woman. That episode was, I think, and absolutely no disrespect to any other guests we had on, any other things, but I think that episode was our best episode of the year.
If I'm trying to look at that, from as objectively as I can, I would agree. I had that written down, so we'll get to it now, because I had that written down as my favorite of the year. Death Becomes Her, probably my second. And just thank you so much to our wonderful guests, Nora Crest and Colleen Griffin. Colleen, who recorded in her car in a parking lot in the summer without air conditioning.
Yeah.
While we went on for over 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, I think not necessarily total record time, but yes, we went on for quite a while.
Yes.
Before
so thank
and
you
after.
so much for not writing us off after we put you through that. And thank you to her mom, who had to shop and not be in the car for that whole time. So yeah. Thank you so much to you both. Yeah. And to Nora as well for just bringing all the great information and being such a fan of Wonder Woman forever. You were so great.
Yeah, and it was an episode that basically kind of had to happen, and I was so pleased with how it came out, and the guests we had on were perfect for it, and I don't know if it was my absolute favorite to record. I mean, again, I love the conversation we had.
I'm sure Colleen would tell you it probably wasn't her favorite to record.
Yes, I'm sure it was not for her. It was. I think looking back on it, definitely the best episode we had last year. So
I have no problem agreeing to that. Yeah.
Do you have any others written down there?
I have
2 more.
Okay, 2 more. So I will do 2 then, because I have 3. I'll do 2 quick ones, and then we'll go back. Thor Ragnarok, I thought was a really fun time.
That was fun.
And just so great to see Goldblum being his Goldblumiest.
Yep.
And of course, lots of other fun things in that movie. And Taika Waititi, I just love him as a filmmaker, and just can't wait. I'm just always eager to see what else he's going to do. Yeah. He can do anything, and probably, maybe, definitely the funniest Marvel film to date. It's a straight up comedy. It was so much fun. Yeah, and it was just a lot of fun to talk about it. And I'll do really another quick one. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I thought I had not seen that film in such a long time. And there were some things that I wasn't so sure about, but mostly things that I just really loved and was happy to see again. And our honorary blokebuster Kelly Griffin was on with us, and it was a lot of fun to talk about that animated film, or the crossover, live action animation. It was just one of those great little classic movies. Either you're down with, or you're wrong. So
Christopher Lloyd, enough said really about that one.
Yeah, exactly. What else did you have?
Well, I wrote down the Jill's Game episode, because not only was it a great first time guest, hopefully we'll have her back on, in Jessica Cameron, but her suggestion, I probably wouldn't have ended up seeing the film outside of that, and I'm so glad I did, and it led to a really solid episode, I thought, of us being able to kind of delve into this really interesting world that I didn't know too much about, but was such a joy to talk about. So
and if you're a fan of Stephen King, and like we talk about in the episode, his adaptations can often be hits and misses. I mean, there's usually not a middle ground, but when his short stories are adapted, I think they usually go really well. And I think this was one of those. And it was just a really interesting conversation. There aren't a ton of laughs to be had in that episode, but it's not that type of movie. So,
I mean, if it is, you're probably in need of help.
Yes, I would go seek professional help if you find anything in there hilarious. So, one of those that I'm very happy I saw. Even though, if you listen, I had some mixed things to say, but by and large, it was a really good experience, and also loved our guest and hope to get her back soon. So thanks, Jessica.
Yeah. So what's the last one you have down? Because I have a feeling it might be the same one I did.
that would be my awful representation of the Stranger Things.
Yeah, not 100% sure where the bong is.
That's kind of the first thing. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, like I said, not great. But yeah, this was so much fun to talk about with Janelle. Thank you so much, Janelle. And you're welcome back to talk about anything sci-fi or anything you want, really. I think I'll speak for Paul, standing invitation for you as well.
Definitely.
As well as others, that we have on. So yeah, it's just so much fun to talk about. Yeah, probably one of the top 3 best streaming shows, I'd say, in the last 2 or 3 years. Is it? Wait, how old was season 1? 2 years? Yeah, 2 years.
Season 1 was
2016. Yeah. I love everything about the show. I love everything about talking about it. So that's just a quick sum up.
Yeah, and it was very interesting to figure out how to do that episode, because obviously we kind of wanted to do a little bit chronological, but we didn't just want to do episode by episode specifically. Yeah. And so it was a really interesting mix of trying to do it plot-wise, but also jumping back and forth. So it was a little different from how we normally do it, but it was very enjoyable. And
I was just going to say, and apologies to Janelle for not talking about Steve and his hair. And I know we needed to talk about Steve more and the hair a lot more. So, so sorry.
The only other one I would bring up, just because of how much we enjoyed the show, was our Series of Unfortunate Events episode with B-Rob. It was great having him on, and it was so much fun just being able to talk about that series. And I don't remember which one of you two hadn't seen the Jim Carrey one. I think it was you, Brian.
Yes.
Yes.
I can confirm that, yes.
Yes. It was very, very interesting thinking back on that, because I saw that originally and I enjoyed it, and then this series came out. So it was very interesting to compare the two, where they overlap, because obviously the Netflix series got to go way more into the story and got to show you way more and give you more of the actual world that it was building. So
and Patrick Warburton is everything, and that's I just need to say it again. As great as NPH is, Patrick Warburton is that series. Like, oh my god, he's so good. Yeah. I just want to rewatch it now, just for just his scenes. And season 2, I don't. What's the date? I know I just watched the trailer, but I don't even.
It's in March. Soon. That's all I can tell you.
All right, hang on, folks. Or it could be out by now, depending on when you're listening to this. So,
yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to be a dig at my my editing.
No. Just more as people listen to podcasts when they get around to it. So,
yes, very true. So I don't know if I have any other specific episodes to talk about, but I would be really interested, and I do hope we get some feedback on this one of what other people's favorite episodes were and why, because obviously we put all this stuff out. We record it because we love recording it. We put it out because, well, we want to put it out. I mean, to be perfectly frank, for me, I couldn't care less if 100,000 people listened to it or if one person listened to it. Hi, Mum. But
yes, if we have a choice, I think it's the latter. I think not a choice, but if we're trying to be accurate,
yes. But yeah, it's so much fun to record these, and it is always great when people get back to us on Twitter and just interact with us that way, and it's always nice, even if it's not specifically, like, we're not doing it to specifically get audience interaction. It's always great to hear that someone's like, oh, I enjoyed this one episode, or I was listening to this and I think you were right, or I think you were wrong and here's why. And it's like, brilliant, more of that, please, bring it in. I want to know what people liked about what we did in 2017. I would love to know if anyone thought we did something wrong and why. And tell us. Maybe you'll help us change. You never know.
So just along with that, I was just gonna say, I think we brought it up previously, but like these are just conversations that we would have over a pint anyway.
Yeah.
So why not record them and see if someone else enjoys them too? So that's kind of, how we got here or why we started, just because, like I said, these are just things we love talking about. And so, yeah, if there's more enjoyment to be had out there, all the merrier. And yeah, we do love the feedback, and we do want to do different things or do more of the things you like. So please hit us up on Twitter at BlokeBusters. And let us know kind of what you're enjoying about the podcast, what you're not enjoying. So it's all useful.
Yeah, please do.
Try to be polite, but
yeah, I mean, we'll read anything you send. So
within reason.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll read it. I may not respond in any way, shape, or form, but I will read it.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I wanted to make sure happens here. And I kind of want to make this something that we do at the end of every year just because I feel like we really should. I want to give a huge thanks to everybody that came on. And
yes.
I wrote down the names of every guest that we had on, whether it be a special thing that we did or a film spotlight or any of those. We had, and in no particular order here, we had my brother.
Yes, shout out to Paul's brother.
Yes, we had the guys from Back to the Podcast on twice. Obviously, we had the award show, and then they helped us do Dunkirk. And we had the OGT boys, the One Good Thing podcast. Brian, you were not available.
Yes,
for that
sorry
one.
about missing out on the Pauls. Yeah.
Yes. It was me, Paul, and Paul reviewing Paul.
I just didn't feel included, so yes, I had to.
Yes, I do believe you still need to fulfill your requirement of watching Life of Brian and getting back to us on that one.
Yeah, that's my punishment. Yeah, absolutely. 2018. Here we go.
Yes. Okay. We had Kevin Guti came on, and he was great. We had Ed Bacta came on. We had Adol Rafai. I am very grateful that he decided to do that because I'm a big fan of Hello from Magic Tavern, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
We've mentioned Sarah Paulton, we've mentioned Noah Kress, we've mentioned Colleen Griffin, Janelle Megan, Jessica Cameron. Yeah. We had Heather Miles from the Tinfoil Hat with Heather, also a member of the Pod Bros podcast network there, so great having her on. John Bailey. That was another great get for us.
Yeah. Holy cow. God, this year's been long.
Yes, it has.
John Bailey. We had the epic movie voice guy. Yeah.
We did.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was great just talking to him. And we even had a little bit of extra time, outside of the record, but we were just talking with him. And great guy. Seriously. Hit him up, like him, subscribe.
Great conversation.
Wonderful guy. Mm-hmm. We had B-Rob on, as I mentioned, on the series Unfortunate Events. And the last guy we had on was Jacob Haller as well. He was
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful.
He was a lot of fun. Yeah. Very fun to talk to. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you to everyone. Yeah. We do appreciate it. And, Paul and I can just, we just need to spice up the relationship every once in a while. So,
yes,
so get you in the mix.
Yeah, we try not to get too stale,
Yes, try to keep things exciting. So, yeah, but we really do enjoy coming on. It does add a different dynamic, and that's a lot of times. And I don't think Paul's offended or what I would be offended. I think those can sometimes be our better episodes when we have an extra person to bounce ideas off of and to hear their ideas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, we both agreed that Wonder Woman was our best episode, and having those two on with getting to hear their views, especially Nora. I mean, Nora being able to express her feeling for the film that she had been waiting her entire life to see. We, despite how much we enjoyed the film, there's no way we could have had that. Just two of us.
Yeah. So. And yes, once again, thanks to Kelly for suffering during the record. It was not for the. It was it was well worth it. I think But of course, I wasn't the one sweating in a car. So,
Yes.
yeah. But that's what us podcasters do for the love of the art, right?
Yes, we often do suffer for it.
Yeah. So any other orders of business?
I don't believe so. The only thing that I was possibly going to bring up, as I said, I feel like the sort of format that we had going last year, albeit out of necessity, I feel like it kind of worked for us. So I do believe we're going to be pretty much doing that going into 2018, and we will probably vary from it from time to time if something comes up or if we're able to do something special. And I do think that I might be able to get out to see a few more films in the cinema this year. So hopefully we can have a couple more modern releases.
Yeah, let's. Your first goal is the. I think is it March or May? Maybe the Solo. I think that's when Solo comes out.
Oh, okay.
The Han Solo movie. Yeah, I think we got to set that. As,
all right, I will.
Maybe a potential one.
I will put that down in the calendar.
Okay.
All right.
No.
Yes. I think we have a couple of ideas. I know I floated the sort of the germ of an idea during our Planet of the Apes podcast, and we may have one or two others that we're floating around. It might come to nothing. It might be a new series we do, and so we will keep you guys up to date. And there is one thing that I hope does become a new series. It's just gonna take some planning, so we will keep you all informed when it comes to that.
Yes, on a need-to-know basis.
Yes. And unfortunately, right now, y'all don't need to know.
Yeah, we need to know. We need to figure it out. Yeah.
Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's it from me. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
I don't think so. I'm sure I'm missing something huge. Like I said, let me know. I did want to say, as far as like streaming and stuff, I really want to hear what you're watching or what you think we should be watching or what we're watching is wrong or any of that. Because we're in this golden age of television and there's just so many amazing shows to choose from. Yeah. We can't all watch them all. So I want to know what you think is worthy of our time, or I don't want to. That sounds an awful way to say it, but like, what should we be watching? There's some of those. What are you fighting for? What's your Stranger Things? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and for those wondering, I am finding the time to work through it myself. Brian has finished it, and I'm sure Colleen will also have finished it by now. We will do Black Mirror Season 4.
Yes.
I just don't know when yet. So once I finish watching it, we will get that done. So don't worry.
That's one that it's not like time sensitive. Those shows are always going to be there, and good streaming fun there. So really excited to get back into that. So
yes,
at some point in the future here.
Yes, definitely.
Probably sooner than later, but just how soon depends.
Yes, depends on when I have the chance to
exactly.
watch it.
Yeah, and I have one more episode to finish this, and I promise I will this time. Okay, I promise I will get 12.
Okay.
Because that may have not happened last time. May or may not have happened.
And yes, and by may not have happened. No,
I mean, definitely happened, without a doubt. And it was one of the best episodes of that season. Shit. All right.
We did tell you.
Okay. Yep. I know. So with me eating some crow here at the very end, I think are we ready to sign off and let the good people go?
I believe so. So
all right. Hit us up at BlokeBusters on Twitter and all the rest.
Yes, please do. Let us know. What we did right, what we did wrong, what you think we should do going forward. Any request for reviews, just get it in. We will genuinely consider it. I think so far there's only been one that we have said we weren't going to do, and I don't even remember what it was. So, so again, we do take them all into account, and we will probably do them. So there you go. So, with all that being said, I've been Paul.
I've been Brian.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.